Friday, October 11th. It did its thing. Apparently it's going to do its thing. With the recovering of the data and yada yada yada. As far as I know, it's filming. Like I said, I haven't had to use Corel to, put clips together anytime recently. So apparently it's the whole clip, apparently the whole thing. It doesn't cut out or anything, or, so none of the video that's supposed to be here is missing, as far as I know. If y'all see something weird besides my face, let me know. But yes, Friday. And I'm done. It's 4 p.m. I ended up staying at Parks and Rec today until late because we were back out at the inclusive playground working on the whirly spinner thing again, the merry-go-round thing. And that took them up until lunch, and then they were going to come back and patch the hole. So I thought it's like, if they need, there again, it was kind of, standing around, handing tools when they needed or I was the bolt bitch, I think that's how it was, because they had the bolts with the nuts and the washers, and Mallory had to get on there, and she was holding down the thing so that way because Pete was like up underneath this merry-go-round, just barely fitting, and he was like screwing from up underneath, so she was holding from the top with like something, I don't know, so that he could screw in. So I became the bolt bitch. So I would held the bolts and handed them the bolts when the bolts were needed, So it's a very, very important position, obviously. But yeah, then we were just kind of like, Gabe told us to just kind of stay there until about 3:30 to make sure nobody got on it, because the merry-go-round thing was back to working, but the hole that needed to be filled in with the epoxy and stuff was right by the merry-go-round. So after we were done with it, they had buckets, and they tied like caution tape in between the buckets, so there was like a square around the entire thing. And of course, a couple people came out with kids, and there was one kid who came up and he's like, "Why is this closed?" Actually, there was, while we were filling the hole, there were these two girls, these two sisters, I assume, and she was like, you're always acting like you're better than everyone else, blah blah blah, like, I don't know. She was, they were having a talk. She was having a talk with her younger sister, herself. She was maybe, I don't know, 10, 11. She wasn't that old herself, whatever. But she just came over and she was like, "What up?" And we were like, "Hello?" She's like, "What are you guys doing?" And we were like, "We're filling in a hole." And she was like, "What hole?" Like, the one we just filled in, the one that does, She's like, "Oh, okay." And then Gabe was like, don't come over here, blah, 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 because it'll, damage your shoes and your feet and blah, 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 and all this other stuff, Like, don't get in the epoxy, basically, is what he was telling her. She's like, "Okay." And then she just kind of ran off, But that was funny. She's kind of like, "What up?" But after we had the barrier up, there was one kid, he came over and he's like, "Why is this closed?" And I was like, "Oh, of course I'm not good with pop quizzes, but I happened to be the one that was standing the closest to it, so I was the one that got to, beat the kids off." That doesn't sound right in any way, shape, or form, that you put it together. But, I was the one that was like kind of swatting the children away. I said something about, I was like, "Oh, we put some epoxy in, we're filling in a hole, so it's just how did I say it? It just broke right now," or something like that, I think is what I said. I don't know. So I like half lied to him, because the merry-go-round thing worked fine, but I just didn't want anybody getting into the epoxy. It's kind of like overnights when they used to wax the floor, and they'd put up, the caution tape or whatever, and people just fucking snap it and walk right through it and ruin the fucking wax, ruin their entire fucking job, you know, like, because they're more important, you know, whatever. I don't miss the customers not being in the store at night. That's for sure. But then there's this one other girl. She was like pointing, and she's like, I want to go in there or whatever. And I saw her dad start to walk over or whatever when I turned around, and I said something that's like, oh, I'm sorry, honey, that's closed, you know. And the dad backed me up. He was like, yeah, he's like, they're working on that. Just leave it alone, whatever, blah blah blah, you know. So she's like, okay, and she just ran off. So, but that was, yeah, Gabe wanted us to stay there and be a presence, I guess, for, you know, until about 3:30, and that's when about we took off. So Peter was going to drop me off because he asked me if I wanted to be dropped off on the way back to the shop, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm like, well, I mean, whatever's most convenient, you know, it doesn't really matter to me, whatever, you know. And he apparently was going to drop me off, but forgot, so I ended up coming back to the shop. But there was some stuff to get out of the truck anyway, so, you know, I helped carry some of that in and put it away, and, you know, did that kind of thing. So, good times, good times. Now I've got some Knorr, whatever, noodles, and it's one of the things, the mod that I set the other night, that's one of the things that came in. We also have like hamburger helper cups. One of the things I wish we would get back, and I don't mean, maybe they don't make them anymore, I don't know. But they used to be able to get like stuffing cups, like, you know, the little cups of like macaroni and cheese or whatever, where you just pour water in them, put them in the microwave, and boom, you've got this little cup of macaroni and cheese or stuffing. They used to have it with stuffing, because every once in a while I'd get one of those if I gotta, because that's like, I think that's, you know, my favorite. Of course, it's almost Valentine's Day. It's almost Thanksgiving, you know. So I mean, maybe I'll get some stuffing on Thanksgiving at some point. But depending on, I mean, the last couple years we really haven't done a dinner ourselves, our family or anything. And like at work, they end up giving us, like, I think last year it was like Allwell's sandwiches, I believe. So that it didn't have stuffing in that. It was just, Allwell's is a local like meat processing plant or whatever. So I think you could get either like ham or turkey sandwich. And of course they had like chips in there and a pickle and maybe like some potato salad or something. I don't remember exactly what all was in there, or beans or something. Actually, a couple of times they've had like a food truck show up, you know, but there's not a stuffing food truck. Maybe there should be. Maybe I should start one. I don't know. But yeah, the mod that I set the other night, it's like those Knorr, the noodles thing that come in the bag or whatever. Like they had some microwavable cups with their noodles. It's like a teriyaki one. That's the one I ended up making. There's a pad thai, and then there's like it's like a Korean barbecue, I think. But that one, it says it's spicy, so I'm like, I don't know. My inner and outer Caucasian is maybe like, stay away. Maybe not for you. I did notice, because we worked 6-7 last night, Jennifer and I did, and of course, it's the salad dressing aisle. So then I was like, well, maybe I want a salad for lunch. So I ended up getting a salad. And I looked up in produce, because sometimes they have produce sandwiches or salads up there. And they don't have the bowls anymore, but they have these little bags of like salad mix that I guess all you got to do is pour it in a bowl and mix it up, and then you have yourself a salad. There's like a Caesar one. There's actually some kind of like pizza salad. And I'm like, I'm going to have to try that. They're like $2. I mean, it's not a very big bag, but still it'd be enough for lunch. But yeah, they used to have those where, you know, it comes in the little plastic bowl, and you pour in the mix-ins and mix it up or whatever. Now you have to have your own bowl. I guess you can make it in the bag. I don't know. Now eat your salad out of the bag, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's designed that way. I guess I didn't really check, but I don't know. So yes, I have Knorr noodles, Knorr, and I might for dessert have to have some Reese's Puffs cereal for some reason. That's we have that on an end cap with, you know, like Lucky Charms and all this other stuff or whatever. But for some reason I'm like, you know, some Reese's Puffs doesn't sound half bad. But to get anywhere near Reese's Puffs, I have to answer today's question. Witches. Maybe it's about witches. Let's find out. Best monster themed movie of all time. Best monster themed movie of all time. I suppose that could be Witches, depending on if you, if she weighs the same as a duck. All that, mathematical equation. Best monster movie of all time. Not Cloverfield. I barely remember this movie. I know I watched it. I bought it, of course, a couple years ago when they re-released it, but I haven't watched it since. Monster Squad. I remember that being a fairly fun. It's a fairly fun movie. My sister mainly watched it because she was obsessed with Ryan. Not Seacrest. He was from the Kids Incorporated, which was Glee before Glee was Glee. And actually it started very young. Fergie something yada yada yada, Black Eyed Peas. Fergie. Stacy, I think maybe her name's Stacy Ferguson in that. Yeah, because her sister is Renee. But it was one of those things where it was like a Disney show. Of course, my grandparents had Disney, and Disney Channel. So somewhere over there is like VHS tapes full of episodes of Kids Incorporated, where it goes from the very beginning, where Stacy Ferguson was like this little girl, to where she's old enough to where she's the only original cast member left. Because it was one of those shows, like, if you got too old, poof, you were out. It didn't matter, like, how talented you were or how popular you were. If you got too old, you're done, Maybe her and the kid, those two might have, I think he might have still been on the show at the time. Because they gained this little Asian girl and this kid who played the drums that I'm like, that is, like, there's no way that singing voice was his voice. There's no fucking way. Because it was like way too deep. It didn't match the body at all. So whoever dubbed it, maybe it was his singing voice. Maybe they, percolated it a little bit. I don't know. But it was just so weird to look at that kid, like, playing the drums and singing, or like, just to look at his face. Because he had, like, this baby face, whatever. I don't think he was very old. He was probably, like, maybe 12, 13, maybe, And just to hear him, like, swing low, sweet chair. Maybe it's not as bad as I remember. It could be, but it's like the voice was just so fucking deep, and I'm like, there's no way. There is no fucking way. That's his goddamn voice. Actually, Gloria, Martika, she after she left Kids Incorporated, she actually put out an album. If you remember that old song, Toy Soldiers, that's Martika. That's Gloria from Kids Incorporated. All of that said, to say Mario Lopez was on that show. He was like one of the dancers, I think, or maybe he was a drummer. I feel like I think he was a drummer in the background. I don't know how many speaking parts he actually ever got. And in later years, I think like Jennifer Love Hewitt was on the show. Like some of the well-known actors now, like were actually in Kids Incorporated. I think like, oh shit, what is that guy's name? I can see his fucking face. I want to say it's Eric something. He usually in the last few years, for some reason he always has the goatee. The only name in my head right now is Eric Stanze, Stanze, but the only reason I know that guy is because he makes horror movies. He's actually a horror filmmaker from Missouri. If you've ever seen like Savage Harvest, that was on Netflix for a while. I don't know if it still is, but let's see, Kids Indoor Pool. No, Incorporated. Fergie, where are they now? Well, Fergie is Fergie. Let's see. That guy, what is his fucking name? Fergie, Martika. Ryan Lambert. That was who my sister was obsessed with. And he was in all of this to say he was in the Monster Squad movie. So of course we had to watch the Monster Squad movie. And the Wolfman has nards. Don't forget, very important. Jennifer Love Hewitt, Moosey Dryer. I feel Riley. He was the guy that because it was like this thing where they were like there was this soda shop, and the kids there was a stage at the soda shop, and the kids would sing, and they were kind of like this performance thing, and all the kids from around the area would come and like. But then of course there was like a storyline where they taught different values and different things. There was always like a a plot point about a lesson to be learned. More cast. Yes, I would like to see more cast. Thank you. Eric Balfour. Good Lord. Rashawn Patterson. There was actually an episode because they just called him the Kid because he thought his name was weird and he thought people would make fun of him because of his name, but I think he only used it once. I think they only in that episode where they're like, oh no, your name makes you special or whatever, but then they just went back to calling him the Kid. So, Eric Balfour is the guy. Thank you for not bringing up the same picture, but yeah, for some reason he always has this goatee in the last few years. Like every single role he's been in, he has the goatee for some reason. I don't know why. It's just become part of his look, I guess. I don't know. I was wondering if there's any other people that I just don't remember. Connie Lou. There's Connie Lou, the little Asian kid. Where's the drummer guy? I don't remember the drummer. If I wouldn't recognize him as an adult. I was like, there's Richie. Maybe that's him. I think that's him. This little kid. There he is. Richard Schaff. Yeah, there's this little kid, this little, prepubescent kid, and he had, this voice. I like that. There's no fucking way. That's his real goddamn singing voice. No fucking way. I do not believe it. But... And yes, as I said, Brittany Murphy? Brittany Murphy was apparently in that show. I was thinking there was somebody else that I couldn't think of that was in the movie, or not the movie, in the show. 9 seasons. It went on for 9 seasons. It started in 1984. I don't see Jerry on here. Jerry was the original. I think he was the first one to leave. Because he got too old, so it was like done. And then I think Martika was the next one to leave. But yeah, I think when Jerry left is when Ryan came on, and my sister was fucking obsessed with him. She even you could watch the episodes because and she swears, and I'm like, this is not HGTV, Tracy, I love you, my sister, but it's there's no way, because she made him a friendship bracelet and sent it to him, and she was looking at the episode because he had tons of friendship bracelets, apparently every friendship bracelet any fan ever sent him, he wore it. So he had this whole forearm of friendship bracelets, and she was like, I see mine, it's right there, and I'm like, all right, I'll let you live with this, it's fine, you can do that. Maybe it was, who knows, because she did it in our school colors, which was black and orange, but it's I feel like black and orange, Halloween, it's not our only school colors, in this mass, this mass of different colored, friendship bracelets. Anyway, that's not the monster movie. Monster Squad. I remember it being kind of a fun, kid kind of horror kind of movie. Fun, funny, kind of like the Goonies, but with like I think they like the Universal monsters. It had like Dracula, the Wolfman, who has nards. Remember, it's important. So that's the only reason I ever actually saw Monster Squad. But I remember that one being fun. I mean, I don't know if it was the best monster movie, like, ever, but, I mean, it should be up there, I guess. Just trying to think of, like, maybe a more like, actual, like, horror, monster movie. I don't know. I've enjoyed the Quiet Place movies, the Quiet Place films. I haven't seen the most recent one, the prequel one. It's like on Paramount Plus or something. I need to watch it, and I will someday. We know what I do. I mean, I remember seeing things on TV, but I'm not sure like what movie they actually are. It might be like Ghoulies. I remember there was these little like Muppet things, kind of like critters, and they were like terrorizing this carnival or something. I don't know. And so I always intended to like actually watch that movie. I mean, I guess monster movies, we're talking about kids movies, like Gremlins was always pretty good. I seem to think I even kind of enjoyed Gremlins too. And then there's some movies, oh my god. They are not intended to be... Well, we have Return to Oz, which has so much fucked up shit in it for a goddamn kids movie. Like the Wheelers, like Mombi and her goddamn hallway of heads that she can take off and put on a different one. It's a lot. But there's some movies that are not intended to be monster movies, such as it's like a musical adaptation of Alice in Wonderland. You've heard me talk about this before. Like Red Buttons was in it, Carol Channing. Gosh, I don't even remember who all. Like Sammy Davis Jr., I believe, played the Caterpillar. There's just all these different people in it. And then there's the motherfucking Jabberwocky. Jesus motherfucking Christ. If you've ever seen that movie, like, oh my god. Like, everything is, like, nice, and it's, like, but, it's kind of nice and bright, because it's Alice in Wonderland. I don't know if I got that far to say that's what I'm fucking talking about, Alice in Wonderland. It was like some like TV miniseries or something. I think it's in 2 parts. I have it over there somewhere on DVD. I don't know. So everything's kind of like bright and shiny or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or everything looks normal. And then the motherfucking Jabberwocky shows up and it like gets dark and there's like fucking thunder and lightning. And it's just the most ridiculous goddamn like rubber suit dragon that walks out of the thing. Oh my god, it's so ridiculous. But it's so fucking like just fucking terrifying at the same time. Like, it just like waddles out, like it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, but it's pretty scary. It's pretty scary. No matter how ridiculous it might look. So it's not intended to be a monster movie, but so I mean it doesn't really count. But it's an honorable mention, I guess. This is kind of like Return to Oz is not intended to be a monster movie, so it's honorable mention with the Wheelers and Mombi. Jesus fucking Christ. Like at one point, if you haven't seen it, I mean spoilers, I guess, but like Dorothy's trying to run away and like all the heads wake up and they start screaming and it's like who, Who thought this was a kids movie? I don't know. Mom was like, she's like, I can't believe, because she's like, you never watched it with me, because I was showing her at the one time, or like we were watching a YouTube video on it, how like scary it is, and she's like, I can't believe like I let you watch something like that, or like or she's like, I don't remember watching that with you, and she's like, it might have been just something that Grandma taped off TV for us, and it's like she might have just thought, oh, it's Wizard of Oz, that'll be fine for the kids to watch, and just trauma. To this day, trauma. Trauma, mama. Goodness. Like Dark Crystal, the giant. I mean, it's another honorable mention because that's not technically a monster movie, but the giant fucking beetle things. The Gartham, I think is the name of those things. Like, those are fucking terrifying. Like, what did they do to kids back in the day? Good lord. The things that they had us watch, like Watcher in the Woods and Something Wicked This Way Comes, which were supposed to be like kids movies or whatever. I don't know, man. I don't know. But so, I mean, I guess there's monster movies that I have enjoyed. Tremors was fun. I like that one. And it had Reba McEntire. So that's a bonus. That's a plus. But yeah, I guess like best monster movie, whatever. Even though, like I said, I barely remember it, I'm going to give it to the Monster Squad. So I seem to remember that being highly entertaining, even though apparently I only ever watched it once. But I don't know. This wasn't like Labyrinth. I kept going back to Labyrinth and Dark Crystal. I watched that a few times. Just, different stuff my grandma had taped off TV or off the Disney Channel for us. And maybe Nickelodeon? I don't know. Did Nickelodeon exist back then, maybe? I don't know. Don't know. Time capsule. I've got a time capsule over there. I'm telling you. Many episodes of Kids Incorporated over there that I'm supposed to put on DVD someday for my sister. Because I have the VHS DVD burner over there. But, yeah. Like most things, it has not gotten done. And I've probably had those for I probably had those VHS over there for like 2 fucking years, probably. At least 2 years. And yeah, it has not got done. But cool. Anyway, I was trying to think of like other monster movies. Howard the Duck had a fairly scary monster at the end of that. I enjoyed Howard the Duck. Sue me. Don't. I don't actually have money. And I have medical bills to pay. So, please don't. Yeah, I was trying to think of like monster movies. I mean, I guess in terms of like The Mummy from, the 1990s with Brendan Fraser. Fraser? I always feel like I say his name wrong. Those were fun. I guess those were technically monster movies, even though they were like action comedy monster movies. Those were fun. The Relic. I really enjoyed The Relic. Enough that when we went to Chicago on senior trip, I know I've told this story before, but get over it. Like, they filmed part of it in the Field Museum in Chicago. So when we went to Chicago on senior trip, of course, this is the first time I've been to a big major city for the first time in my entire life, you know. So it's just like crazy to me, you know. I mean, around here I'd been to maybe like Independence, maybe Blue Springs. I mean, we used to go to like Independence Center. We used to go to Metro North Mall, which was maybe in North Kansas City, maybe? I don't know. And Antioch. Antioch was up there somewhere with the Showbiz Pizza / Chuck E. Cheese. The original, actually, I think the first one ever. And they tore it down because they were going to build a road or whatever. Whatever. But yeah, so it's a big deal to me. And I missed the Married with Children fountain the first time we were up there. Super sad, depressed. Because apparently I was sitting on the wrong side of the bus or whatever, or I missed it. We passed it because the bus driver announced, there's the thing from the fountain from the opening credits of Married with Children. I didn't see it. But we went to the Field Museum, and you know they filmed part of the movie there, The Relic. And so I had to sit on the fountain. So that way when I watch that movie, I can say, and I don't even know if that fountain's there anymore, or at least we didn't find it when we went back. Of course, we were kind of on a whirlwind tour when I went back with Sean and Jen a few years ago. But yeah, just so every time I watch that movie now, I can say I sat on that fountain in the background. So that was a big deal. I enjoyed The Relic. That was fun. I enjoy like, well, Ghost Ship is, I mean, I guess ghosts are monsters. I don't know. It's more sort of a paranormal ghost sort of thing. What about Deep Rising? They had monsters in that. I know. I have no battery left. Sorry. Deep Rising was fun. So I like some shitty movies sometimes, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, there's a few for you, I guess, that I would suggest. Are zombies monsters? I guess zombies are monsters. Definitely a very fun, interesting, different, weird movie to check out. If you like horror comedy with a little bit of gore, a little bit here and there, check out Dead and Breakfast. That's a fun one. Got a lot of people in it that have like been in other things. Like Portia de Rossi is in it, but like she just has like a cameo. She's the wedding that they're trying to get to when they turn off on the wrong, then end up in the wrong town. They turn the wrong way. They get lost trying to go to the wedding. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in that as the sheriff. So there's some notable names in there. And some people who have been in some stuff that you recognize their face. Like, I can't think of the actress's name, but she was in the first Jeepers Creepers movie. She's in that. I can't think of that guy's name. I can see his face, but I can't think of it. Can't think of his name. David Carradine is, he runs the bed and breakfast that they end up staying at. Diedrich Bader? Is that the guy from the Drew Carey show? He's in it as like the butler. He has like a very thick accent, you know? So yeah, that's a fun one if you like zombie films. So that's kind of a monster movie, I guess, since it's zombies. Zombies count, right? We'll go with that. So Monster Squad, Dead and Breakfast, somewhere up at the top, somewhere, and The Relic too, I guess. And what's the other one I said? Deep Rising. Deep Rising was a good one too. So there's your few. My noodles should definitely be ready for me to eat by now. I would fucking hope. So I'm going to get those and go numbers, and upload this for you. And yeah. I'll see you tomorrow with another question, probably. But if not, I'll see you for when I see you.